Been a busy day for the Chicago Fire Department and police department's rescue crews. We've seen them all over the lakefront here trying to manage these rescues. Now, there was a bunch of firefighters and scuba dive teams out here about an hour ago. Now they are all gone. We'll go straight to that video where Chicago Fire tells us they were responding to a call of two people in the water here at 63rd Street Beach. One person managed to get themselves out of the water and back to shore, but the fire department tells us another person was still missing. So divers and helicopters were in this area. We saw them leave about 30 minutes ago. So we're not sure if they've been able to find that body or they're turning this over to a recovery mission. So we're waiting for word from the Chicago Fire Department. We'll keep you updated as that comes in. For now, we'll send it back to the studio.
Zahrie Walls was happy. She had a big smile, nice clothes, and many friends. She lived in Chicago and worked as a hairstylist. That means she made people's hair look nice. Her salon was called the Stylist Suites. People loved going there. She was 27 years old and doing very well in life. But one hot summer day, something very bad happened. On June 21st, 2024, Zaryi went to a boat party. The party was part of something called Black Yacht Weekend. It was a fun event with music, food, drinks, and dancing on boats. Zaryi was on one of those boats on Lake Michigan, near a big place called Navy Pier. That day, it was very, very hot. The sun was shining hard. The weather felt over 100 degrees. People were sweating. The lake looked calm, but the water underneath was moving fast. The wind was strong. Some people say the waves were big. Zaryi was on the boat, having fun. She was dancing, smiling, and recording videos. People around her were also laughing and enjoying themselves. But at some point during the party, things changed. Something went wrong. Zaryi suddenly fell off the boat. No one knows exactly how. Some say the boat moved too much. Others think she may have slipped or was pushed by accident. Another person also fell in, but that person got back on the boat safely. Zaryi did not. People on the boat shouted. They tried to help her. Some even jumped in to grab her, but Zaryi didn't come back up. She disappeared into the water. Rescue teams came fast. Divers searched the lake. Finally, they found Zaryi's body under the water. She was not alive. She was taken to a hospital, but it was too late. Zaryi's family, friends, and fans were shocked. She was gone. People posted her pictures online. Many asked, "How did this happen?" Others said, "We want answers." Now, police are still looking into what happened. Was it an accident? Was there a problem with the boat? Was there a fight? Nobody knows for sure yet. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment below. Where are you tuning in from? What are your thoughts as this story unfolds? Your voice matters. These are real people, real tragedies, and real lessons we can't ignore. Share this video with someone you care about. It could make all the difference. Welcome to Unseen Crime Dossiers, your home for spine-chilling cases, haunting before mysteries, and deep dives into the world of crime. From jaw-dropping real-life events to groundbreaking forensic discoveries, we're here to uncover the truth behind the most gripping investigations. Step inside, examine the evidence, and lose yourself in the shadows of true crime. Zahrie Walls was a young woman from the west side of Chicago. She grew up in a busy part of the city where life was not always easy, but she stayed focused on her goals. From a young age, she had big dreams and worked hard to make them real. She had a gift for doing hair and turned that talent into a full-time business. She began practicing her hair skills as a teenager. By the time she was an adult, she had her own salon called the Stylist Suites. It was more than just a place to get your hair done. It became a community space where clients felt safe, confident, and cared for. Her salon was clean, bright, and always full of energy. Zaryi had a large online following, with over 76,000 people on Instagram watching her work. She shared photos of her hairstyles, videos of her daily life, and posts that showed her personality. People admired her drive and how she balanced work and life with joy and style. Her clients describe her as someone who made you feel special. She listened, gave advice, and made people laugh. Even when she was busy, she found time to check on those around her. Many people who sat in her chair returned, not just for her skills, but for her spirit. Outside of work, she loved fashion, music, and taking photos. She wore long lashes, colorful hairstyles, and designer outfits. Her look was bold and fun. Her style matched her strong personality. She took pride in how she carried herself and always tried to uplift those around her. Zaryi's life had meaning beyond her business. She had deep friendships and strong family ties. Her connection to Kenneka Jenkins, her childhood friend, was something she often honored. She kept Kenneka's memory alive in her own way and stayed close to those who remembered her too. She was full of life, full of plans, and had built something real. People looked at her and saw someone who turned her passion into success. Her story was one of growth, purpose, and impact. She was a young black entrepreneur who had made a name in her city and beyond. On Saturday, June 21st, 2024, Chicago was under a heat wave. Temperatures were high, and the city's streets were crowded with people trying to enjoy the summer. That same weekend, a popular event called Black Yacht Weekend brought dozens of boats and partygoers to Lake Michigan. It was advertised as a weekend of fun, music, and luxury. Zaryi boarded one of the yachts with friends. The atmosphere on the boat was loud and full of energy. Music played, people danced, and videos were recorded on cell phones. Everyone was dressed in summer clothes, and most were there to enjoy the moment. The boat was moving slowly along the lake near Navy Pier. Witnesses said the boat was crowded. People were packed closely together on the deck. Some were standing on the edge, taking selfies or filming live videos. The water beneath the boat looked calm, but strong winds and hidden currents were present. No one appeared to be wearing a life vest, including Zaryi. At some point during the trip, Zaryi went overboard. One other person reportedly fell in as well, but that individual was quickly rescued. The situation turned from a party to panic. People screamed for help. Some passengers jumped into the water, trying to pull her back, but she had already gone under. Emergency services were called. Rescue boats and divers arrived quickly. The search lasted several hours. Zaryi's body was found beneath the water, not far from where the yacht had been. She was pulled from the lake and taken to a nearby hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The Chicago Police Department and Fire Department began an investigation into the incident. Authorities collected statements from people on the boat and began reviewing safety procedures. Organizers of the event released a public statement, saying the boat Zaryi was on was not directly linked to the main event, though it had been promoted online. News of the incident spread fast. Local stations reported on the tragedy, and social media filled with photos of Zaryi just hours before her death. Friends and strangers posted messages expressing shock. The event that had started as a celebration of black success on the water had ended with the loss of a well-known businesswoman. News of Zahrie Walls' death quickly spread across the internet. Within hours, photos and videos from the boat party were posted and reshared. Clips that showed her enjoying herself earlier that day began circulating. Her final moments online were viewed by thousands. Her name trended on multiple platforms by the evening. Many users on social media expressed disbelief. Comments filled with broken heart emojis and shocked reactions appeared under her most recent posts. People who had appointments with her or had visited her salon shared personal stories. They wrote about how kind she was, how hard she worked, and how they would miss her forever. Some people posted older videos of her laughing, dancing, and working in her shop. Her social media timeline became a digital memorial. Friends tagged her in tribute posts and used her nickname Z Money in their captions. Others updated their profile pictures in her memory. On Facebook and Instagram, people pointed out that this wasn't the first time someone close to Zaryi had died under unusual circumstances. Many users began to talk about her connection to Kenneka Jenkins. Screenshots of Zaryi's past tributes to Kenneka were reshared, especially the tattoo she got in her name. A few influencers and public figures from Chicago also spoke about her passing. They asked for respect and space for the family. Posts encouraged people to celebrate Zaryi's achievements rather than focus on rumors. Several stylists from around the country posted hair photos with the caption for Z. In video comments and message boards, users talked about the risks of summer boat parties. Some wrote about their own experiences at similar events. Others raised concerns about safety rules, the number of people on board, and whether there were trained staff present. Still, most posts remained focused on Zaryi and the loss her community felt. By the end of the weekend, candles, flowers, and photos were placed near the lakefront. A small vigil was held near Navy Pier. People stood quietly, holding signs and lighting candles. Zaryi's name was written on poster boards, surrounded by hair tools, pictures, and messages of goodbye. After Zaryi's body was recovered from Lake Michigan, local authorities opened a case to review the events that led to her death. The Chicago Police Department started collecting evidence from the scene. Officers spoke with people who had been on the yacht that day. Statements were taken, and videos from the boat were reviewed. The Chicago Fire Department's Marine unit supported the recovery efforts and shared findings from their dive teams. They provided details about the lake's conditions, noting the water temperature, visibility, and movement at the time of the incident. These details were documented as part of the official report. Detectives reviewed footage taken before, during, and after the fall. Videos posted by passengers and nearby boats were gathered and analyzed. Some clips were shared voluntarily by witnesses. Others were found on public social media pages. Officials examined these materials to help create a clearer timeline. The owner and crew of the boat, Zaryi, were also contacted. Investigators looked into the boat's registration, the number of people aboard, and whether it was operating under approved safety guidelines. Information about the boat's captain, emergency equipment, and license status was included in the inquiry. Event organizers behind Black Yacht Weekend made a public statement after Zaryi's death. They explained that while the boat she was on had promoted their branding, it was not officially part of their registered fleet. The statement was shared online and distributed to local media outlets. The investigation continued with a review of safety policies related to open water gatherings. Discussions began among officials about party boat regulations and how they are monitored during large events. Some city leaders acknowledged gaps in enforcement and suggested updates to existing boating protocols. While police did not share every detail with the public, they confirmed that no foul play had been discovered in the early stages of the review. The case remained open as authorities worked to complete their final findings. The medical examiner's report was also expected to play a role in closing the file. Zahrie Walls and Kenneka Jenkins were childhood friends who grew up in the same neighborhood on Chicago's West Side. Their bond was known to many in their community. They spent time together, supported each other's goals, and appeared in each other's photos and videos for years. In 2017, when Kenneka Jenkins was found dead inside a walk-in freezer at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, Zaryi was one of the people most affected. She publicly mourned her friend and expressed her pain through words, posts, and permanent ink. She had Kenneka's name tattooed on her body in memory of their friendship. Following Kenneka's passing, Zaryi often spoke about her in interviews and social media posts. She used her platform to remind others to be careful and stay aware of their surroundings. She kept Kenneka's image alive through pictures and old videos. Her salon even had a photo of Kenneka on the wall. Over time, both women became symbols in their community. Kenneka's story led to national headlines, online protests, and conversations about safety at social events. Zaryi's rise as a business owner kept her connected to that history, as people saw her as someone who carried the memory of a lost friend while building something of her own. Some community members saw their bond as more than a friendship. They believed it reflected the strength and loyalty that existed among women in their neighborhood. Zaryi's success was seen as a continuation of the potential Kenneka never got to fulfill. Their names were often mentioned together in both public discussions and private talks. When Zaryi died, images of her and Kenneka resurfaced almost immediately. Side-by-side photos were posted across social platforms. Videos of the two smiling, hugging, and laughing reminded many of the life they once shared. Hashtags combining both their names began trending as people reacted to the tragedy. Without speaking a word, their story became linked again. In life, they were close friends who supported each other. In death, they became part of a larger conversation that stretched beyond their city. Their memories were honored together in online tributes, candlelight vigils, and shared moments of silence. Following Zaryi's passing, her family focused on honoring her memory in a respectful and meaningful way. Plans were made for a homegoing service, where loved ones could gather and celebrate her life. The ceremony included songs, photos, and stories shared by relatives, friends, and former clients. The event was attended by people from many parts of the city. Chairs were filled with stylists, neighbors, business owners, and community leaders. Several wore shirts printed with Zaryi's name and picture. Her favorite colors decorated the venue, and her most well-known hairstyles were displayed on posters. Her salon, Zahrie the Stylist Suites, closed temporarily. Flowers and cards were placed at the entrance by those who had once sat in her chair. Former customers returned to pay their respects. Some brought framed photos or candles and left them on the sidewalk outside the building. In the days that followed, friends shared their favorite memories online. Videos from birthdays, salon grand openings, and travel clips began appearing on timelines. The post highlighted her energy, creativity, and love for life. These small digital moments became pieces of a bigger story people didn't want to forget. A few of her close friends organized a scholarship fund in her name. The goal was to support young Black girls who wanted to study beauty, hair, or business. Flyers were printed, donation links were posted, and word spread quickly. The idea was to keep her passion alive by helping others reach their goals. Local news stations continued to provide brief updates about the investigation, but shifted focus toward her impact. Reporters visited her neighborhood and spoke with residents who had watched her grow. Teachers, coaches, and neighbors described her as driven, generous, and full of promise from a young age. Zaryi's legacy settled into the city's memory. Her name appeared on murals, flyers, and community pages. Though her presence was no longer physical, her work and influence remained visible. People carried her story not just as a tragedy, but as a reminder of what she built and how far she had come. In the weeks after Zaryi's death, the impact reached beyond her circle of family and friends. Community activists and neighborhood organizers began speaking out about safety concerns during large events on water. Meetings were held in small venues where residents discussed how to better protect attendees at future gatherings. Several local churches held forums where people came together to express their thoughts and feelings. These gatherings offered space for healing, but they also served as platforms to push for stronger policies. Attendees shared personal stories, some involving close calls at similar events held in the city during previous summers. Chicago-based organizations focus on youth and women's empowerment mentioned Zaryi's name in their newsletters. Some included her in lists of local women who made a difference in business and culture. By doing so, they kept her story present in conversations around success, risk, and leadership. In different neighborhoods, artists began creating tribute pieces. One painting showed Zaryi standing in front of a mirror with a golden crown on her head. Another mural was painted near a beauty supply store, showing her with styling tools in one hand and light shining behind her. These visuals became landmarks for those passing through. Radio programs included short segments discussing her life and the events that followed. Hosts reminded listeners about the importance of safety while also giving space to guests who wanted to speak about Zaryi's contributions. These broadcasts added to the larger reflection taking place across the city. Online spaces continued to grow around her memory. Tribute pages were updated with new messages daily. Supporters used her name as a hashtag to share positive content, memories, and educational tips for upcoming beauty professionals. Some stylists added her photo to their salon walls, creating a chain of remembrance. Though time moved forward, reminders of Zaryi remained. Her presence was felt in the voices of those who spoke her name, the hands of those she trained, and the spaces she once lit up with her energy. The city had lost a bright figure, but it continued to speak her name in full. As the official documents were finalized, more information became available to the public. The medical examiner's office confirmed the cause of death as drowning. Toxicology results were included in the report, along with notes on physical condition, time of recovery, and environmental factors at the scene. According to the coroner's findings, there were no visible signs of trauma on the body. The timeline of events from the moment Zaryi entered the water to the time she was located helped confirm the estimated time of death. The depth of the lake and lack of flotation support were noted as key elements in the final summary. The final incident report filed by law enforcement included statements from party attendees. Those who had seen the moment of the fall described the situation as sudden and chaotic. Crew members stated they were unaware she was missing until someone alerted them. Search and rescue efforts were initiated within minutes. Additional reviews from city agencies showed that the boat in question had proper registration at the time of the event. However, the number of people on board was not officially documented. Authorities noted the lack of clear passenger tracking during such gatherings as a concern for future regulation. A timeline was constructed based on cell phone footage, timestamps, and witness interviews. This helped investigators understand the sequence of movement leading up to the fall. Screenshots and video clips were collected and securely stored as part of the digital case file. There were no arrests and no charges were filed. Officials ruled the death unintentional. Though there had been speculation online, no criminal evidence was found to suggest foul play. The findings were handed over to family and stored with other water-related incident records. The release of the report marked the end of the formal investigation. With no further legal action required, the case was closed by the authorities. The documents became part of the public record, available through request. For those seeking clarity on the events of that day, months passed, but the memory of Zaryi continued to influence the spaces she once filled. Her absence was felt in everyday routines where she used to be present. Clients adjusted to new stylists, but many still mention her name with respect. Her image remained fixed in community hearts, even as the city moved forward. Family members made efforts to preserve her work through digital archives. Photos, video clips, and handwritten notes from her business were organized and stored. A small collection of her tools, appointment books, and salon materials was turned into a private memorial for loved ones to visit. Teachers and mentors she had once worked with used her story as a teaching example. In beauty classes, her path from hobbyist to salon owner was referenced to inspire others. Her determination, professionalism, and ability to build trust with clients were highlighted in lesson plans and workshops. Several of her friends began volunteering at youth programs. They brought hair care kits to local girls and talked about setting goals. These events were quiet, but powerful. Each one carried the weight of Zaryi's influence, shared not through speeches but through action. A few months later, a printed booklet was released by a local artist collective. It featured her life, artwork inspired by her story, and reflections from those who knew her. Copies were handed out during a women's empowerment event. Each page served as both tribute and testimony. The salon space that once belonged to her was eventually leased to a new business. Before repainting, the new owner left a message on the wall behind a mirror, thanking Zaryi for what she built. The note was covered with fresh color but documented and saved as part of the building's memory. Even without headlines or public ceremonies, the imprint Zaryi left remained. In a quiet but lasting way, she became part of the city's story. Her presence continued to echo through hands at work, voices in classrooms, and hearts still remembering. Here at Unseen Crime Dossiers, we're driven by a mission to uncover hidden realities, honor forgotten voices, and keep their memories alive. If the story made you pause, reflect, or feel something, there's more coming that will challenge you even deeper. Make sure to hit subscribe, tap the like button, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a case. We're dropping new episodes regularly, and trust us, what's ahead is even more chilling. Before you go, we want to hear from you. What moment hit you the hardest? Drop it in the comments. Your perspective matters, and your voice helps keep these stories alive. Until next time, stay alert, stay informed, and never stop seeking the truth, because every life deserves to be heard.